Lightning split the sky with a deafening crack, briefly turning the ruined battlefield into a ghost-white snapshot of devastation. Staff Sergeant Ryan Carter was a lone figure amid the wreckage, a silhouette limping through metal bones and burning debris. His breath came ragged, every inhale scraping against broken ribs. The rain had stopped, but the ground still spat steam where explosions had scorched it moments before. He was alone. His squad had been ahead, pushing from the ridge when the alien craft crashed. Then came the counterstrike. A burst of plasma fire tore the earth apart and wiped out the front line. After the explosion, there had been silence. Then only the pained groans of dying machines and dying men. Ryan's boots sank into mud thick with ash. He leaned against a bent steel plate, wiped the blood from his face with the back of his hand, then pressed 2 fingers against his ear. Bravo 2, come in. This is Staff Sergeant Carter. Any survivors, call back. Static. The comms were fried. He pushed on. The wreckage of the alien escape pod lay ahead, half buried in dirt and twisted vegetation. It glowed faintly with energy leaking from broken seams, its elegant curves ruined by atmospheric re-entry. Most of the hull was intact, but blackened, a shell cracked open by a harsh world. And from within came a voice. Thin. Weak. But unmistakable. Help, me. Ryan hesitated only a second before pushing forward. He climbed onto the cracked metal, boot hitting the surface with a hollow clang. With a grunt, he pried open an access hatch, slicing his palm on a jagged edge. Inside, a faint blue glow shimmered softly. As the pod's hydraulic door hissed open, stale air escaped with a hiss, smelling like ozone and burnt circuitry. Slumped against the interior wall was an alien woman. Her hair was like silver-fine strands, flowing in waves across her shoulders. Her skin shimmered in hues of twilight, pale blues, light silvers, charcoal. She was small and light, but her presence filled the space like a star collapsing under its own gravity. Princess Lyri Velterin. Ryan had seen her only once, during a briefing at Camp Adler. The Ilari had sent representatives to Earth to negotiate peace after decades of mysterious observation. Lyri was the emissary, the symbol. Young. Gifted. Beloved by her people. Now she was dying in a metal coffin on a battlefield drenched in 2 species' blood. Ryan knelt beside her, fingers searching for a pulse. It was there, faint, stuttering. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing irises like violet crystals catching light. "You're human," she murmured. Her voice was melodic, almost hypnotic, despite the pain laced through every word. He nodded. Sergeant Ryan Carter. U.S. Marine Corps. Her gaze flickered over the torn ribbons of his uniform, bloodied and reeking of smoke. She winced when she shifted, a gaping wound in her side pulsed, leaking blue blood that pooled beneath her. "We need to get you help," he said, reaching for his field kit. She shook her head. "Your medics cannot heal me. I am not like you." He ignored her and pulled a pressure bandage from his bag, hands trembling slightly. He pressed it against her wound, applying pressure as gently as he could. She gasped, a sharp, pained sound that twisted through him. "Sorry," Ryan said, voice thick. "It's forbidden," she whispered, her fingers brushing his wrist. "Blood from another will kill me faster." His mind raced. The briefing had mentioned similarities in Ilari and human DNA, speculative shared ancestry, a biology so eerily close it was almost unnerving. But the technology to treat them hadn't caught up. They weren't prepared for real contact. For real war. He looked at her again, the way her breath hitched, the glow in her skin fading. A flickering candle. She was dying. Thunder grumbled above, pressing the moment closer. The ground felt like it was holding its breath. "Damn it," Ryan muttered, grabbing his transfusion kit. "Then I'll take the chance." Her eyes widened, pupils contracting. "What are you doing?" "Saving your life." He pulled off his sleeve, exposed his forearm, and wrapped a tourniquet. His fingers shook, from blood loss, from adrenaline, from something else. A fear he pretended wasn't there. "No." She reached, but her arm fell short, too weak to stop him.
If you do this, you bind us. We become one.
He paused for half a second, the weight in her words sinking in. But in the middle of a war, surrounded by fire and death, the concept of one life merging with another felt almost holy.
Then it'll be my honor, he said.
He pushed the needle in.
His blood, human blood, flowed down the line and into hers.
A faint glow began to pulse beneath her skin, the veins lighting in soft blue cascade as life merged with life.
Her breath deepened.
The tremors stopped. Ryan sagged back against the pod, blinking hard against the dizziness. The transfusion had drained more than he thought.
The battlefield spun.
But he held on, his eyes locked on her as she slowly opened hers again. "You shouldn't have done that," she whispered.
He gave a tired smile. "Couldn't let you die.
I don't care what your rules say." Her hand reached up, weak but steady, and cupped his cheek. Her touch was cool, but it carried a warmth that spread through him in strange waves. "You have given me your blood," she said.
"You have entered a pact. And so I vow. I will uphold it." He frowned, throat dry. "What does that mean?" But she didn't answer.
She leaned forward instead, touched her forehead to his.
For a moment, the shimmering glow surrounded them both.
The droning of the burning trees, the wind, even the thunder seemed to hush. Outside, the air crackled with distant energy engines cutting through the air. The rumbling thrum of incoming aircraft.
Shapes descending through fire-lit clouds.
Ryan turned, but his strength was leaving him. "They will come," Leary said softly.
"Either your people, or mine."
She lifted his chin, her eyes gleaming.
"One life now. Not two. If we are separated, we die."
The meaning settled in him like a stone. Too late to change course.
Too late to escape.
As the roar of engines closed in and spotlights swept over the wreckage, Ryan Carter closed his eyes.
The pact was made. And whatever came next, he wasn't alone anymore.
The rain had stopped, but the world was still drenched in the heavy silence that follows disaster, the kind that makes every breath feel stolen.
The horizon was painted in the dull hues of stormbreak, dark clouds, streaks of rust-gray sky, and fractured beams of light.
Smoke rose from the wreckage around them, curling into the air like ghostly tendrils.
Staff Sergeant Ryan Carter stood on his feet, but barely.
Every movement felt like his bones were filled with molten lead. The transfusion had taken more from him than he'd expected. Or maybe it was just the bond, whatever the hell that meant, that tethered him to the alien princess who now stood at his side.
Princess Leary was already transformed.
Her posture was no longer that of a dying emissary but of someone reforged in fire. She stood tall and defiant, silver hair fluttering in the wind.
Her once faded glow now pulsed beneath her skin in soft waves, alive, resolute.
There was a new strength in her bearing, and something else. A fierce determination anchored in the improbable truth, her life was tied to his. Above them, streaks of blue split through the sky, metal reapers in flight, engines screaming to life.
A United Earth Federation dropship descended, its underbelly bristling with weaponry. Plasma cannons rotated into position. 2 escort drones flanked it, hovering with predatory patience. Ryan swallowed hard and glanced at Leary. "They don't know what's happened," he said, voice rough.
"They will," she replied, her tone calm.
"And they will fear it." The dropship's thrusters blasted the ground, sending ash and debris tumbling away.
Its armored ramp lowered with a mechanical hiss, revealing a line of armored soldiers, polished armor, visors reflecting firelight, rifles aimed in unison.
The first officer to step out wasn't just any soldier. Ryan recognized the insignia on his shoulder. Commander Marcus Hale.
A man Ryan had respected once, before war had turned everyone into something else.
Staff Sergeant Ryan Carter, Hale called out, voice amplified.
"You're ordered to stand down and step away from the alien."
Ryan coughed, blood on his lips. "She's not the enemy, sir. She needs med-evac."
"That is not your decision," Hale replied, unslinging his weapon and pointing it, not at Leary, but at Ryan.
"You've violated protocol, Sergeant." And I am not in the mood for negotiations.
Leary stepped in front of Ryan, her presence unmistakably shield-like, chin lifted high. "You misunderstand," she said, her voice steady and ringing with something beyond human confidence.
"He saved my life. And in doing so, he bound his own to mine.
If you harm him or take him from me, you kill us both."
The soldiers hesitated.
Several glanced at each other, their grips tightening.
Hale did not lower his weapon. "You expect me to believe some mythic alien ritual binds you to this man?" Leary's eyes pulsed, violet irises shimmering as the wind flared around them. "It is not myth. It is law of my people, and the universe itself.
When our blood merges, so do our spirits. If we are separated for too long, the life we share collapses." She held her hand to her chest, just over the spot where Ryan's blood had flowed into her.
He gave with intent. "And so, I vow, I will not leave him."
Ryan steadied himself, one hand on her shoulder.
"It's true, sir. I didn't know the consequences, but now, it's done. You separate us, I die. She dies." The tension grew.
Hale's jaw worked back and forth, a storm barely contained beneath cold patience.
"You're a Marine," he said. "You're under oath. Under command. We can't lose a political asset over one man." Ryan's heart thudded.
He felt a flush of anger flare behind his exhaustion.
"I'm not your asset," he said. "I'm a soldier trying to save someone." "Same oath you swore, sir?"
Another voice broke through, one that did not come through Combs.
"Enough."
All eyes snapped upward, just as another ship descended through the clouds. Sleek and impossibly smooth, like metal woven from moonlight. It hovered gracefully, no thrust, no noise, only a faint hum that resonated in the air, in everyone's bones. The ship's hull parted with a liquid motion as three figures descended, not with weapons drawn, but with calm certainty.
They were Ilari. Their armor shimmered with bioluminescence. And at their center was a tall figure clad in iridescent regalia. King Valaris Valterin. Leary's father. The weight of his presence rippled across the battlefield, an ancient river of dignity and wrath.
He stopped before them, eyes like starlight resting on his daughter, with relief, grief, and something deeper. "Leary," he said, voice soft, though every syllable echoed with command. "You should not have left the safety of the embassy without escort."
She bowed her head. "I chose risk. For truth." Valaris's gaze shifted, locking with Ryan's. For a moment, the world held still. "You gave her your blood," he said. Ryan nodded. "I didn't know what it meant."
"But now you do," the king replied.
"And yet you accept it." Ryan swallowed. "I didn't do it for a bond. I did it because she was dying. I couldn't just walk away." Valaris turned to Hale, his voice now cold as cosmic silence.
"If you insist on keeping him, human commander, you condemn him. For without her, his body fails. That is the nature of the oath. This was not an act of war. It was one of mercy.
And mercy must be honored."
Hale hesitated. His soldiers shifted uncertainly. The drones above whirred, but did not fire. Slowly, a decision took shape in Hale's eyes.
A bitter one. But a realistic one. "Your Highness," Hale said carefully, lowering his weapon, "this carries political consequences. Both our governments." Valaris raised a hand. "Governments will adapt. But this moment defines us.
The bond between our species, forged not through treaties, but through sacrifice." He placed a hand on Leary's shoulder, then on Ryan's, briefly.
"I will take them both. Our healers will complete the binding. And the boy will live." Ryan exhaled a breath he didn't know he was holding.
Leary's hand squeezed his gently, surprisingly warm, now.
"Alive." Hale didn't argue anymore.
His jaw set, expression strained. "You're still a soldier, Carter.
But, it's your choice."
Ryan looked over the field, at the wreckage, at the smoldering ground where his squad had once stood. At a war that seemed endless.
then at Leary, whose eyes held galaxies. "Maybe it's time I tried a different kind of battle," he said softly.
Together, they walked toward the Ilari craft, Ryan stumbling, Leary supporting him with newfound strength.
The ramp lifted, sealing them inside. The world outside fell away.
In the quiet of the ship, Ryan slumped against the wall, feeling his heartbeat slow, then match hers.
One life, beating across bodies. Two souls in orbit.
Leary knelt beside him, lowering her head so their foreheads touched, the same gesture from the pod.
"You saved me," she whispered. "You saved me back," he answered.
The ship rose, silent as dawn, lifting them into the sky not as alien and human, nor as soldier and royalty,
but as something new, something intertwined. The war would still rage. The world still fractured. But for now, for them, there was sanctuary.